Today I have a message for employers, and one of the most important messages for employers is all of us to realize what an investment we have in our people. How do we care for that investment? How do we treat that as an investment? And what I find is a lot of companies don't have a strategy for that. So we're going to touch on just a couple of quick points today. And the first point I would like to talk about is just how we treat people. What is your company's culture? How do you treat people? And I would say it's not treat people like you want to be treated, because sometimes that seems like it's so shallow. I would say if you're a parent, treat the people around you that work with you like you would want your children to be treated on the job. How do you want somebody to treat your child? And see if that doesn't give you a new standard. Say, would I talk to my child that way? Would I like my supervisor to talk to my child that way? Would I want the company to treat my child that way? So just use that maybe as a new measure of standard. The second thing is give employees feedback. Remove the mystery. There's a huge mystery zone out there in most employees' minds about how am I doing? And they just want to know how I'm doing. And the Gallup organization did a poll a few years ago, and one of the questions that came out is to what was really important to all employees is that someone told them every 7 days that they were doing a good job. They gave them feedback, that they didn't go more than 7 days without getting some feedback that they've done something right in a week. Maybe you can't do every 7 days, but I think that's a good rule of thumb to consider, to say, at least in the last 7 days, if you could write on a piece of paper, who are the people I've told you're doing a good job? Maybe that at least help you get a current state analysis of how you're doing and also how your company's doing. So I would say that's more the informal style of giving people feedback. I think that's important every day, every week. The other area is the formal style, which I would say is your performance evaluation. It's one of the hardest areas of business, doing the performance evaluations, doing them in a meaningful way. And I know that our company's not perfect in this area. We're working on it every year. But I would say the performance evaluations, at least, you have to be doing them annually. Someone deserves that. Sit down, have a formal process once a year. What I think the ideal standard is to do that once a year and then set a quarterly cadence to follow up from there. So if you had the review in January, you'll have a quarterly review in April, and et cetera through the year. So when you get 12 months later, when you get to that point, there's not all this pressure building up to the annual review, because you just kind of have a rolling performance evaluation all during the year. So it takes the pressure off you as a manager. It takes the pressure off the employee that says, oh gosh, I've got a performance evaluation coming up. So anyway, consider that, the annual and the quarterly. The next thing is employees want to know where they're going. Career advancement, that's always the question. And sometimes it's not a big deal. But I find if we just ask an employee, what are your aspirations for the next 2 to 5 years? Just throw that question out there to them and see what they say. You know, sometimes it's just they want some specialized training. Maybe they're happy in their job. They don't want to be promoted. They don't want to relocate. And they just say, I would like to have more specialized training in my job, or I would like some additional education in my job. On the other hand, you could have someone that says, I want your job. Or they could say, I would like to move into this job, or this job. And so you do have to be a little more strategic in how you would help them do that. And maybe there's planning from a cost side if that will require money to fund certain training or certain education. But shame on us if we don't ask the question, where do you want to be in 2 to 5 years? And if we don't try to help our employees, and as an employer, take responsibility to help them get there. And then the last area is, in the secret to retaining employees, is have some fun. Part of our whole strategy as a company is to have fun. And I think there are a couple of easy ways to do that for all of us. Everybody loves food. You know, buy food for people. You know, continue to do the pizza days. Maybe when you were a smaller company, there were things you did all the time. You had pizza days, or you went out and went bowling, or you did some golf outings, or you did shopping trips. Plan some things. Get some things on the calendar in this next quarter. Make yourself a promise. We're going to do something fun as a company. and try to do that at least something every quarter to let your employees know you're paying attention to that, and you'll deepen the relationships of your employees, which leads me to my last point. One of the top characteristics of companies that retain employees is their employees said they had best friends at that company. So as you develop all of these things, you're having fun, you have good evaluations, and you're giving feedback, and people know where they stand with the company, people will stay longer, and you will see a greater return on your investment. From Augusta, Georgia and MAU, have a good day. Thank you.